Sidney sat on the couch in his family room, watching himself on TV, giving a tearful press conference earlier that morning at the Verizon Center in downtown D.C. The cameras clicked and flashed around him, looking like lightning was about to strike. While he watched himself, his face showed emotion, as if he were studying his performance. From the kitchen, I could clearly see the TV as I poured myself a glass of grapefruit juice. "There are just no words that can express how much I miss my wife," he said, tears streaming down his face. "It's going to be tough playing this season because it's just hard going on without her. And me taking the life of the person stalking my wife wasn't easy either. My heart goes out to both families. I just wish that this crazy fan that murdered my wife was caught before she took my wife's life. We all need to take precautions before it happens again." I walked out of the kitchen, sipping my juice, trying not to burst out laughing and spit juice all over the place. I set my glass on the coffee table, kicked off my slippers, and curled up on the couch with Sidney. He put his arm around me and held me tight. "You should really consider an acting role in a movie in the off-season," I said, looking at him, proud of his tearful performance. He grinned at me before chuckling hard. I shook my head and smiled. "You're laughing, but I'm serious," I said. "That was a really good acting job. The tears and everything." Sidney leaned down and gave me a wet kiss on the lips. Now we can be together in peace, without any money-hungry people in our lives. I fell in love with Sidney the minute I saw him playing ball for Georgia Tech a few years ago. I followed his basketball career from there. My love for him was strong and real. Money was not an issue. I became obsessed with him. I thought he was so handsome, so sexy. I enjoyed spending time with him, making love to him, not spending his hard-earned money like a lot of his friends and family, especially those skanks Debbie and Kim. I hoped to get him before Kim tricked and slicked him into getting her pregnant. At first, it was hard finding time to be with Sidney because he was busy being a husband, spending time with Kim, and playing basketball for the Wizards. That's why we had to act fast to get rid of both Debbie and Kim. It all started when Sidney came by the apartment one day to see Kim. She was out with Gerald, this tall, clumsy, fast-talking guy she was seeing before she met Sidney at Love Nightclub. We hit it off immediately, standing there at the door talking. He asked me if I wanted to go to Fridays in Largo, Maryland, for lunch. During lunch, he expressed how he realized Debbie married him for his money, breaking his heart. He suspected Kim was trying to do the same. Our affair started soon after. Kim became obsessed with trapping him for his money. That's when Sidney and I came up with the idea of me convincing Kim to pose as his crazy #1 fan, to stalk and later murder Debbie so she could have him for herself. The plan went perfectly, with Sidney pretending to walk in on Kim murdering Debbie and him shooting and killing Kim in self-defense. It was all so perfect. We had Debbie and Kim out of the way so we could live happily ever after. "Yep," Sidney said, nodding his head and continuing to watch himself on TV. No Debbie and no Kim. Both of them were in it for the money. But you know what, Drew? I'm just glad you're going to be my wife one day soon. I'm ready to finally start a family with you. Well, like I tell you all the time, my love for you is real, Sidney. That's why when you've had enough time to grieve for Debbie, just show me the dotted line on the prenuptial agreement." I stretched up and kissed him on the lips. "So we can move on with our lives together."